here. Get in here. We're in the huddle right here.
I know. I feel like you dominate the mic though.
No. This is for both of us. It's only. I'm sorry. I don't have enough money to afford 2 microphones, so I only have 1 microphone. Most podcasts have 2 microphones, but I only have 1. But today, I really want to talk about life. I don't know. We're going to talk about life, business. Obviously, this channel is about, day trading, business, kind of the hustle, the bustle. But
all the stuff I know so much about.
No, I feel like you do though. You work. Let's give a little background here. I mean, you work for a major multi-million-dollar company.
Okay. Yep.
You got it's a serious company. It's not like you guys make money over there.
Yeah, we make money for sure.
So basically, just to give you a little recap here, you've probably seen some other videos. Fox is in those videos as well. I've known Fox for about 10 years now.
Yeah, not even. I think like 7 years.
Nah, but I mean, I've known you before then. Basically, he knew who I was. I didn't really know who he was, but
yeah, there you go.
We've been working together for at least 7 years now. I'll say 7 years.
Yeah, working together for 7 years. Friends for 7 years.
Yeah. I don't know about friends, but working together.
Acquaintances for 10
years.
Yeah,
kind of like work people. We knew each other. But we've traveled the world. We've seen some cool stuff. We've done some cool stuff.
Definitely.
Met some cool people.
Some not so cool people.
Drank a lot of alcohol at some point in our lives. Not that we do that anymore. We're all, adults now. Yeah.
We're done with that.
Fox used to just love to have a good time. He still loves to have a good time, but I think your good times are a little less crazy.
Got too much responsibility now.
Yeah, no, that's the problem getting older.
Exactly.
So I really want to start out with kind of just talking about the unorthodox way that you kind of found your niche in this world. So obviously you went to college, and I think we talk a lot about on this channel about college, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it last night. Actually, you went to college. You got a degree. What was your degree?
Studio art.
Studio art. That's got to be a terrible degree to have.
Yeah, I mean, like when I told my dad I was gonna get a studio art degree, he was just like,
"Well, your dad's an accountant."
Yeah, he's an accountant, like numbers guy. And growing up, I wasn't like super into math or anything like that. And he was like, "Any job that you get, you're gonna have to be good at math. You're gonna have, all this stuff." He's like really conventional, in that sense.
Yeah. You were like, "I'm gonna find a job where I don't have to do any math because I'm gonna be an artist.
Yeah,
I'm gonna paint pictures in a studio."
But even in art and like I do some like logo stuff as well. Like all that stuff gets really mathematical. You like want everything to be even, and it's all about like an equal negative and positive balance.
What's the golden ratio? What's the?
No, I don't deal with the golden ratio.
No golden ratio.
Yeah. It's still a little bit organic, but like you want angles to line up, all that kind of stuff still plays into it. Yeah.
I mean, are you a believer that like everything in the world is kind of like based on math, like the like the theory that everything is kind of like a mathematical equation, like everything, like?
Oh man. No, I think I'm like a chaos theory guy.
The chaos theory. Okay. All right. So you went to college. You got a job doing stuff that really did not apply to your degree. You kind of did some art, but like really at the end of the day, like the reason you were successful at your job was because you morphed into something that you weren't prepared for in terms of like going to school. Yeah. Like they didn't teach you in college to do what you do today. Like that was no like, okay, this is what you need to do when you get older.
I don't know. Like it's kind of like different because when I was going to school, I was kiteboarding or whatever, and I was professional at that. So that was $200 a month, like really small amounts of money.
I covered your bar tab one night.
Yeah, exactly. But then the company that I was a professional for, when I would go to the office and visit them and stuff, they would have these jobs. And one of the jobs that they had to have done was take product photos of like little parts.
Yeah.
So screws and nuts and bolts and fins and like little tiny things. And they didn't want to take them to a studio because they're so small. Well, in college for studio art, you learn how to photograph your work and how to like make it look professional. And they teach you ways of doing studio shooting without actually being in a studio.
So now you're giving credit to the degree.
I give credit sometimes. I say like when people ask me this question, I say, oh well, I definitely use some things, but I wouldn't say that college is the reason that I have a good job.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask me every day. I mean, not every day, but a lot of people ask me, like, where do you go to school? How'd you learn to make videos?
Yeah.
And I don't think I would be any better off today if I had a college degree. Because nobody, I mean, not one person has ever hired me and asked me, like, what's your college degree?
Yeah. You probably get just more
it's all like
pressure
word of
from
mouth.
like social. Like when people are like, hey, where did you go to school? You always have to be like, I didn't go to school.
Especially like as you kind of get into the financial market, you kind of like learn everyone's kind of went to this college or done this, they're alumni, they've been in this frat or something. And it's like, no, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
So you I don't think you're an outsider, but you're definitely people might look at you differently if you kind of tell them like, "Yeah, I didn't go to college."
You had a path though out of high school. You kind of knew what you were gonna do.
Yeah.
And you were like,
Yeah,
you were driven in that respect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But going back to the thing, that I think a lot of people have a problem with, especially like when they get a college degree, is they kind of like get stuck in this like idea, like, okay, this is my degree. This is what I need to do in life. This is what I need to do.
Yeah.
But you kind of like, well, okay, I can do the art photography stuff. That kind of like was like the open the door.
Yeah.
But then you saw other opportunities, like, oh, I can also do copy, or I can write stories, or I can start designing ads, or I can go out and do testing. Like, so you found all these little things that weren't like kind of what you were supposed to be doing, quote unquote.
I think people, and I thought about this the other day too. People always kind of want something to be like set up for them, like where it's this perfect opportunity, and it's like, hey, and like they have like a plan. It's like, hey, in 3 years I want to be doing this, I want to be doing this, I want to be doing this, and they have to like achieve those goals and like those benchmarks. But at the end of the day, you have to be so flexible, yeah, and just
100%,
like ready to go.
Like 100%.
And I mean, everybody always says it. You like whenever you watch a podcast or listen to a podcast or watch a video interview, they're always like, oh, you got to be motivated, but you got to be like ready for whatever is going to be thrown at you, and you need to be constantly learning and stuff. But it's very true. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if something comes at you, an opportunity.
Yeah.
When I first started working with like Drone Nerds.
Yeah.
I hated drones.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I think the first like time I started flying a drone with Drone Nerds like was maybe my second time flying.
Yeah.
And these guys like wanted me to like film with drones and like make videos, and I was like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Because also like I saw like kind of how the world was like where the world was going in the sense of with social media, with the marketing side, like. And me making videos, making like a wakeboarding movie and trying to sell it on iTunes. I mean, that's like nobody does that anymore.
Yeah. No.
But I was able to see that kind of like that opportunity before, like it was like, a brick wall in terms of like, so I kind of diverted from just running into a brick wall. Because there's a lot of guys who kind of were making videos and stuff in the past that they just got stuck there.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, what are these guys doing now? And I see they kind of like, they're not really doing much.
Yeah. You got to evolve for sure,
I never thought I'd have a YouTube channel about day trading. That's for sure.
I know that.
I
remember when you said you were starting a YouTube channel. We were just like, "Oh my god, what? What are you doing?
What am I gonna do?"
Oh god, does that mean you're gonna be vlogging around us?
Yeah.
Now look at us.
Yeah, we had a lot. Now we are doing a podcast sort of thing.
Oh man. Yeah.
I think we should do this like more often. I feel like we got a cool
fun.
story here. All right, so I'm just trying to think like here, what we're trying to get across here to the viewer today. I'm thinking that a lot of the guys who are watching these videos, they hear the same stuff, like you said. A lot of the podcasts are the same idea, like, oh, if you want to be successful, you got to do this, you got to do these 3 things. There's always some type of bullshit. Everyone's got like this whole like Gary V mentality, if you want a heart, you just got to hustle. But at the end of the day, there's also that like idea that no matter how hard you work, if you're working in the wrong way, like if you're if all you're doing is working on this one thing, but like it doesn't really like nobody cares about that, or like. We've talked about it before. Like let's say you're trying to build a company, you're trying to build a business, and you don't have a customer, but so you're like, I'm gonna build a product, and then I'm gonna find a customer.
Yeah.
That's like the worst business plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, find your customer, build a better product for them that they want, like the demand. Find that demand before you build a product.
Yeah.
Or whatever your business is. If you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a fax machine repair guy. I mean, that might not be a good business to get into.
Yeah, it's probably not going to work.
It's not going to be a good business.
Yeah, I think you have to, one of the big things is always just if you love something, like whatever it is that you love, being in it and kind of surrounding yourself all in it, immersing yourself and kind of finding where these little niches are and kind of be like, oh, it sounds like, I think I could probably do that, and then you kind of, everybody always says, fake it till you make it. And it's not even faking it till you make it. It's, hey, if you have the opportunity to do like a web page for somebody or like whatever it is, whatever somebody needs, just go full bore into it.
100.
Just go. You have that opportunity.
100.
Doesn't mean you have to be destined to make websites. It's not like the best web developers now are like, hey, I was born for this.
And you got to start.
That's it.
Like you got to start.
Yeah.
I mean, when you started, like you just started designing like boards and boots and all this stuff, like I'm sure now you look back and you're like, oh man, like that was terrible.
Yeah.
But if you didn't start, you never would be where you are now. Like
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, what was that?
10 years later.
It's like if you don't learn how to do something today, you're gonna still suck at it in a year from now.
No,
so.
like my YouTube channel is a prime example of that. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was like, I mean, not that I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I definitely I picked up on things. I learned how to be better, you know, talking, and I feel more confident, not just with making videos now, but just overall with talking. Like I went to the summit recently and was talking on, you know, on the stage there and stuff, and just meeting people in public. I just feel more confident that I can get across the message, even though a lot of times I end up repeating myself a million times. You know, I'm working on that. Like you know, I want to be better at that. So yeah, you got to start, and you can't be afraid of failing. I guess
definitely.
That's like the classic quote. You know, don't be afraid of failing. But like, if you just sit around and you're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna start my landscaping company tomorrow. Like, you probably won't.
Exactly, and you can't be worried about like what people are gonna say, because I've done a bunch of board graphics and projects that we've sold all around the world. You know, where the kiteboarding business that we work for is, I think we're in like over 40 different countries. And what's cool in Argentina is not cool in Italy. And what's cool in China is not cool in Morocco. You know, and I would go on these distributor meetings and stuff, and I'd meet one guy, and the guy would be like, "Oh man, you did such and such board graphic. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." And then you go and you talk to somebody else, and the guy's like, "Hey, who did that board graphic? That thing is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen." And you're just like, that was me, you know? So you have to have thick skin, because, you know, that's just what it is. Everybody always has. We're in a world full of opinions now. I mean, reading your YouTube comments is awesome.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people that get upset, or you know, a lot of people have opinions, I guess, and not everyone's gonna agree with you. I've obviously been a prime example of that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, no matter what you do in life, if you make a painting of just a blue painting, like you just paint blue on a thing, someone's like, that's a terrible blue.
Yeah, I hate blue.
You know, I don't like blue. Yeah. Why'd you paint blue? Why don't you paint purple? You know, like it's always gonna be somebody. Yeah. Oh, red would definitely be better. So that's always like the battle, you know, trying to figure out. At the end of the day, you gotta like just kind of figure, like, you gotta know what you want and not worry about like so much on like how people are gonna interpret that, but like just do it, because you might alienate some people, but like the people who actually like appreciate it are gonna be like your biggest supporters, your biggest fans, and that's like obviously been a big thing with YouTube is, you know, maybe I could have, you know, 500,000 subscribers if I was this very like right in the middle and everything. You know, I had no opinion each way.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was happy about everything. I told everyone, you know, you're gonna get rich. It's gonna be amazing. Everyone's friends, and I think there's a lot of people like that. But.
But then less people would love you, and more people would just be okay with you.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
No, I feel like there's obviously a lot of people that hate me, but I think that there's more people out there that also like are like they're down. Exactly. You know, like they're down for it. They're like they're a part of the crew. You know. Yeah. I meet people all the time that I've never met before. Like just the other night, I met this guy who came up to me, and you know, he was like, "I really appreciate what you're doing," or, you know, "I enjoy your content," and it's like, that's the guy. That's the guy that I do this for.
Yeah, there you go.
What's you like? At the end of the day, for you, like, and a lot of times you don't see, you know, like that gratification, you know, from the consumer. If you're building a product, like, you might hear from somebody, but a lot of times you end up hearing like the negativity, because people that always resonates bigger, you know, for higher. Sure. So. At the end of the day, if you're designing a product or whatever it is, like, how do you kind of just like
mitigate those expectations of like?
No, where do you get that gratification from? Like, is it just personal, or like if you're like, this is like I'm stoked on this, you know? Like at the end of the day, are you just like you're stoked on it? Like, I don't really care. Like if everyone hates it, like it's kind of like.
Yeah, I think so. Like you're, you know, another cliche is like you're always like I'm always my biggest critic. Oh, yeah. So I know like if something's good or not, and. Yeah, I think if you're satisfied, that's awesome, you know, and then honestly, I would always say, like, oh, if one person likes it and one person loves it, then hey, that's better than everybody just kind of being whatever. And I've always kind of thought that about my work in general. It's like, I'd rather have somebody absolutely despise it than just kind of be indifferent about it. And that's kind of like just a passion thing. It's the same thing with like your videos. Like you wouldn't want somebody, if somebody's like, oh yeah, I saw Fox's stuff. It's cool. I would rather have somebody be like, oh, have you seen Fox's stuff? That's the worst shit I've ever seen, because then on the flip side, there's somebody there who's like, man, that is the coolest stuff I've ever seen. You know,
it's like I'd rather have people hate me, and then love me, instead of everyone just being like, I know who that is.
For sure. I mean, there's plenty of middle ground and like mediocre work out there.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, tons of graphic design, product design, everything. You know, and that's nobody's like, hey, I'm super passionate about Keds shoes, or like, you know, I don't know,
Keds are pretty
whatever,
hot,
just something like really middle ground, you know, like you're gonna find, I want somebody to be like fire like, I love when people are super, super passionate about something, you know?
Yeah, no, and I hate people that are like Sweden.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do something in life, whatever it is, like have an opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you're like, if everything about in your life is like, oh, you know, I don't really care either way.
Yeah.
Like no, like just quit. Like just quit living then.
Yeah.
You don't care either way, then just don't ever talk and just go off into the woods and live in a box. You know, like have an opinion, have like a goal. You know, something that you want to do.
Well, or at least just recognize, like, if you don't have an opinion, then just kind of recognize that you're not, like, educated enough on the subject to realize that, like, hey, I'm not really in a position to even voice an opinion.
Okay.
You know? Like,
Okay.
I always preach that. It's like, hey,
I
don't know, I say I don't know. Like, I would rather just say, hey, I'm indifferent because I'm not educated on that subject.
That would be good advice for me, I think, sometimes.
Yeah,
I always have
we also just love to debate for the sake of
arguing.
arguing.
If it's something that I don't really care about at all, like that it means nothing to me, I'll still be like, you want to talk about this? Yeah, I'll figure. Let's go.
I mean, how often when we go on trips do we just argue nonstop? And it's
We
not
don't
even
argue.
like that.
We
We're
don't
not
argue.
arguing.
No.
We're literally debating. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I normally win, but yeah.
I don't know. I love when you and Sam debate the most.
Yeah, but that's not even a fair. That's like a child.
Yeah, but it's fun because then I'll hop on your side, and then I'll hop on his side, and then I'll hop on your side.
Yeah, I don't like that when you do that.
I pitch you guys
against
each
other.
that. That's the best.
So, kind of like keeping with the whole business aspect, like, what do you do to like not get stuck like in that that little bubble niche? Like, let's say so you started out doing the photography stuff, and then you kind of morphed, but like, do you feel like some people just kind of get stuck, like they figure out something that they're good at or whatever, and they don't really ever like try to like grow or learn more, like to like keep up? Obviously, technology is always changing. Like, no matter what you're doing in life, you know, like there's always going to be like better technology, better tools.
Yeah. And
a lot of people kind of I feel like people get stuck. You know, certain like you get like, you know, 30, 40 years old, you're kind of like, you know, I'm older now, I kind of just want to coast or whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like you're constantly kind of evolving and becoming more, you know, about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to speak like in a complete generality, but I think like sometimes even if you're at a job and you're working for it for 20 years and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, like you're probably, I'm assuming you're learning and like having other hobbies maybe outside of work where you're like, oh, like I learned how to tap dance. I learned how to, I got really into running. I got into CrossFit, whatever it is. Like at least you're learning on that sense. I think since our jobs and our work is like really,
I guess that's a good way to put it. Like
kind of like tied into our passions.
Everything I do is like monetized in the sense of like if I do something, it's like I'm doing that to either.
I remember when you like started your YouTube channel and kind of like started to like grow.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, I hate weekends.
Yeah.
You know? Because I don't want, like, what am I doing? I'm just sitting around like just kind of relaxing. I'd rather be like working. Like when the market's on, like going, like I'm learning so much, I'm having so much fun. Like I don't think it's like a rare thing to find to be like that passionate about it. So people are usually living for the weekend.
Yeah,
not the opposite
100%.
way, you know?
No, I love Mondays. Not because it's like, oh, the market's open. I like that everybody else is kind of working so I can finally get shit done. You know, like Saturday and Sunday, nobody replies to emails. So it's like, I'm just sitting here like, okay, well, I'm doing all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing, but nobody else is working. And I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's about finding something that you just kind of, like, it's not a job. My dad, I mean, I've said this before in a million videos, but, you know, my dad always said, like, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Well, I think more people than just your dad said that.
No, I'm telling you.
Andy.
All the Andy,
Andy said that first.
No, it's all the Andy. All right, so obviously you kind of every day are kind of working in the marketing space, kind of the branding. What do you think right now is like, if let's maybe some advice out there, someone who's like, they have a company, they're working, you know, they're a small company, like what's like the kind of 3 things they should be focused on in terms of like marketing wise? Like, is it, where do you see like social media, like overall just brand presence? Like good example, like let's say, I always use this, but like, let's say I have a landscaping company.
Yeah.
You know, right now I've got 1 truck, couple employees, and I want to grow, you know, I want to become a legitimate like big player. What do you think? Like, where is that kind of like growth in terms of like, what should I be focused on other than just doing a good job, you know?
Yeah.
How do I get my name out there? You know, how do I represent my brand in a good way? Just 3 ideas, you know, like obviously social media. Like, what do you think about social media?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think people are always going to go. Everybody's on their phone. Obviously, it's just kind of like, that's not new. You know, obviously you have some social media presence. I also don't think it might not be everything. You know, word of mouth is also going to be huge. So I would say, you know, the first and foremost thing if I'm growing my business and I'm already kind of set up as a brand is like treat my customers right. You know, do whatever it takes to make that person happy, because once you tell one person and they do, like they say, hey, this guy did such a great job landscaping my house, he's amazing. like you should definitely use them. Like that's passion right there. So they're going to instantly want to do your business or use your business for, landscaping. And then also I would say, in marketing or in any sort of brand, like obviously being first is like the best. Like, but you can't be the first landscape designer or landscape architect in wherever you are. But like find your niche. Like if you can't be first, hey, like what can you also
figure out like something you can offer, like something that's like a new service. Like, hey, we have this new kind of like sprinkler that's like the best, like most efficient sprinkler, and kind of market that as like that's something you're offering over other people.
Or find like a plant that works really well in the environment that you're in, and be like, hey, this is like a unique thing I've found. Whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's like some invasive species and stuff that you can't mess with, but like bring in something really cool and like show your presence that way, and then
that's a good idea. So you're like, obviously if you're in a big market, kind of figure out a little niche. Like I think I've talked about that before. Like kind of with what I did with the day trading stuff is like it's a niche thing, but like I can kind of grow off of that. So if you got a landscaping company, like figure out a smaller niche. So if you live in South Florida and everybody in South Florida is planting palm trees, so maybe you can figure out like I got a better palm tree than everybody else because I kind of like did the work. But what do you
do? Like a unique passion project too. Like hey, if everybody has palm trees that are we have like big palm trees in Florida. Get little palm trees, make a crazy thing, do it for free on somebody's house, and make it look like really a statement piece, and have people be like, oh, what is that? Generate a lot of like look that way. I mean, the pivoting kind of thing is it's like, what's the number one imported beer in America?
Heineken. Hey.
Yeah. Okay, but it's also the first imported beer in America.
Okay.
So then what do? You can't import another beer because you're not going to be as dominant as Heineken. Yeah. So what's the biggest imported light beer in America?
Amstel Light?
Amstel Light.
Oh, okay.
But that's the grow up. So it's like, hey, if you can't be first, you're not the first landscaper. Be the first landscaper that has purple grass or something.
I like it. No. And like what I mean, obviously you're like a design like branding guy. Like how much I think a lot of people kind of overcomplicate, if they're doing an ad, if they're doing a mailer, if they're doing whatever it is, mailer, Facebook ads, stuff like that. Everyone's kind of overcomplicating it. Like I think at the end of the day, like it's all about just like bullet point, like bold. Yeah. Instead of having 20 bullet points about what your services are, just bam, like figure out one tagline where it's like we do the best. I think
that's kind of in this day and age where everything's basically an ad and everything, you're so concentrated and inundated with that kind of like media and stuff. You need to have one thing that you stand for, and that's the same thing. Like if you need to pick your true north and like what you always are gonna follow. Like, hey, I'm always gonna do this. I'm always gonna be the greenest company, or I'm gonna be the the most bold branded company. Like whatever your niche is, like tout that and live that. And every single decision that you make needs to fall into that funnel. So. And then that's going to lead you for ads and everything like that. And you're going to make it super concentrated and super concise so that every single time people see that and they're re-engaging with that message, but they're super confident that that's what they're going to get. You want to instill confidence in your customer. And if you start kind of pivoting on everything, if you want to be the cheapest brand out there or the best brand out there, and then you want to be the most, it'd be like if all of a sudden BMW was like, hey, we have like a really budget car. Yeah. You're going to be like, whoa, what? No, why? Why? Then all the BMW drivers who like and buy BMW because it's a luxury automobile are going to be like, well, I'm not buying BMW. I'm going to buy, Mercedes from now on because, BMW is now kind of like a budget brand. I'm not going to buy that. Yeah, no.
And that's a good example too, because I think you also deal with products that kind of hit that like higher end customer. Yeah. At the end of the day, like you said earlier, like having that like word of mouth is going to like kind of resonate better than like just claiming that you do something. And then, if you can capture like a couple of those higher end customers, that's going to be worth its weight in gold, because those are the guys who are going to like kind of be like, hey, I got this guy. He's a good landscaper. He's the best. I use him. Like, here's his, check him out. Like, because they're going to be
you get a customer for life. It's like you can always try to go for as you go and you're like searching for new customers, you run the risk of alienate old customers. Yeah. So you have to kind of make sure, hey, this is my customer base. These are the people that, mess with me. Same thing with you. It's like with YouTube and all that. And then, you want to make sure that you're keeping those people loyal, because they're the people who are going to keep buying. What do we always say? If there's waves, never leave waves for waves. Oof. Never leave a customer for another customer.
Oof. Never leave a subscriber for another subscriber.
Yeah.
Although you should hit the subscribe button.
Yeah,
You know? I need more subscribers. Try to hit 100,000 subscribers this year, my friend.
Here we go.
We're getting close.
What if this is the video that does it?
I don't think so, but
I'll get a bonus.
I wish you. I'd bump you for sure if you can make that happen. Just
man.
tell your family. I think you got a pretty big family. We can get at least like 30 views.
We'll get
from
10
your family.
subs for sure.
Yeah, nice. That'd be sweet.
Perfect.
What do you think? Like, end of the day, like, if some kid, he wants to get into marketing, wants to get into art, design, whatever it is, like he just wants to do, some kind of alternative, like creative work. Like, what's the fad right now? Like, where do you go? What do you do?
Oh man.
You got your degree, right? You went to some art school or whatever. Like, what's the stepping stone? Like,
I mean, there's a million avenues. There's still people are still getting jobs in the traditional sense. You're still going to be able to go and apply for 50 jobs and get a couple interviews and find your way into an agency or whatever it is you want to do. Or, I mean, you can obviously go like the Instagram route and you start posting your stuff, build a portfolio, and I'm sure you'll get some work that way. And it's kind of like what you said. It's like, don't plan on having a plan.
Yeah.
If you're getting jobs on Instagram, then go through Instagram. If you have like a really great paying job from, having a traditional interview and stuff like that, then hey, do that and, try to figure out other stuff. And it's all about like finding what you're interested in. I'm not the most successful person on the planet, but
that can also bite you in the ass too, because like, let's say you're like, I'm a diehard, like I want to design shoes for Nike.
Yeah.
Like that's all I want to do in my life.
Yeah.
And that's like, and you pass up jobs, or maybe, some clothing companies like, hey, we like your work, we want to come work. It's like, nah, I only do shoes.
Yeah.
And that can also bite you in the ass, because like if you're just only like, I only got one outlook, one kind of focus.
Yeah. And I mean, all those industries and design, it all changes so quick. It's a trendy kind of thing. So what's cool and what like you learn in, say, whatever, a clothing design, you're going to be able to apply that to shoes. And you never know like what's going to happen and come out, like something, a new material science, a new application where you actually are going to be able to inject some of your past experiences. And that's kind of what every designer wants to do, is have like a product that they kind of were able to put their personal twist on, because if you're creating something that's somebody else's vision, that's what you're going to do a lot when you're first starting out. But if you can kind of say, people want to have ownership. It's like, oh, well, I actually chose, they can tell all their friends and their family, like, oh, I chose the color for that little small minuscule piece. I mean, that was like my big thing, is I want to be able to tell my family, oh, I designed a board graphic, and then
Mommy, Daddy.
As you do that, though, it's like
P. Fox.
Yeah, but once you do that, then it's like you want to do something else. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to just do like a computer graphic. I want to come up with like an actual material, and I want to do like have that.
I want to innovate.
So it's, you just, I don't know. I'm like that. I think some people, when we talk about like people getting complacent, I don't know if people necessarily get complacent, because I think that they probably are having their
people get complacent.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
like you get stuck.
I think there's just different people. Like some people are comfortable doing what they like. I get just super over doing the same thing every single day. Even when I was like a pro kiteboarder or whatever, I got tired of
gets monotonous.
Yeah, it gets monotonous. It's like, you just go kiteboard, you come back, what do you do? I was always kind of like, hey, what's going to be the next thing? Where are we going to go from here? What's going to be like the next fun thing for me?
Do you think? Well, how old are you now? 30, 31?
30.
30 years old. Like going back to 20 years old, 21.
Yeah.
Like if you'd have told yourself, like, okay, one day, like if you go back in time right now, and you met yourself in a bar and you said, hey, you're gonna be the brand manager. One day you're not gonna kiteboard anymore. Yeah. But you're gonna be like, that's gonna be your job. You think you would have been like, makes sense?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably not. I probably would have been like, oh, really? Like, I don't think that it would have been like possible, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if what I ever, really thought. Even when I was like going to college, I was like, oh man, I can't. Like I didn't, for some reason, I never saw myself even graduating college. I was like, oh, it's gonna be too hard. Like it's gonna be too long. Like 4 years. I didn't take 4 years. I took 5.
It's also hard when you're dyslexic.
Wasn't not dyslexic, but I mean, it's just like one of those things. It's just like such a when you're like a young
it's
kid,
hard to see.
It's
like
an insurmountable. It's like an insurmountable. Like, oh, in 4 years, I'm gonna graduate college, and then I'm gonna be like a real human. You're just kind of like, you're taking it day by day.
I mean, I remember when I was 19, 20 years old. Yeah. I honestly didn't think that I would live till I was 30.
No, I mean,
not in a morbid way. I just you don't think when you're that young, you don't really ever you're not like, oh, I need to make sure that I'm like working, so that when I'm 30, I can kind of like have something,
Yeah,
like
you think you're gonna be there forever.
Yeah, you're just stuck in that moment for and it seems so like so far away.
Yeah.
And now I'm 31 and yeah, I don't know. I got something. I got 90,000 subscribers on YouTube, but nothing else, not really.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I got a boat and stuff. I don't really know. No. I'm not trying to be morbid, but you kind of like, it comes fast, I think is what I'm trying to say. Like, whatever you're doing, like when you're 20, you're 25, like that, it just like, before you know it, you're 30, and you kind of look back, and you want to make sure. I feel, at the end of the day, either way, like no matter whatever I have, or what, I've had fun. I had fun.
Yeah.
Like I've done some cool stuff. I've been to some cool places. I've had an amazing life, I guess I should say. And I said, like today, like I woke up and, been doing what I want to do all day, and that's always been the goal. So
yeah.
I think you're in the same place, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's definitely days where you like obviously get overloaded and you don't love it, but
I think there's good days and bad days at every job. But at least like if you find joy in the problem solving, then, I mean that's all it is. Is like there's critical thinking, and if you enjoy that kind of stuff, then you'll have fun in your career.
Life.
I think, yeah. I mean, have something that challenges you, because if you're going, I think that's the main thing. It's just if it were easy, we wouldn't even want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's the old. I think it's not an old saying, but I forgot who it was. Somebody, it's not that there's like a perfect life. It's just kind of like there is life. Like
for sure.
Everybody kind of has like this idea, this picture of like what life is supposed to be. Supposed to be, but I mean, at the end, I don't know. I hate that I say at the end of the day, but like people end up kind of just living their lives. Whatever your imagination, like when you're younger, like this is what I'm gonna be when I'm older. I mean, you end up being at that point, and you're kind of like, maybe you're totally surprised, maybe you're like let down, but either way, you're kind of living. You're living whatever life.
You're always gonna like kind of arrive somewhere, like that you couldn't have really planned for. But if you're happy there, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
If you're not happy there, then I think that's when you kind of need to figure out something else, like a lateral move.
Lateral move.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Well, there it is. It's hot right now. It is really hot right now. All right, so there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully there is some information in there that might help somebody else out there. Like I said, Fox has a lot of history, a lot of experience, kind of being his own, kind of little boss. Same as me. We've kind of went our own kind of paths.
I have a real boss.
No, at the end of the day, I think you've kind of done a really good job of getting to where you are, the way you are, and doing what you love.
Same to you.
Yeah. Hey, there it is. All right. I'll talk to you guys later on. If you haven't already, do me one big favor, hit that subscribe button.